Okay, so like Star Wars, it's good again, or was it always good? I don't know. Let's talk about it. It's good. I normally don't eat pretzels. I dropped my pretzel. I normally don't do reviews like this because I'm always like cosplaying or doing videos on costumes. But as you can see, that's kind of expensive. I can't always be traveling and going to conventions. So yeah, I'm gonna start moving towards doing some reviews of some characters that I like, some series. Basically the characters I cosplay off their series, I might be discussing them in the future. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for like a Samurai Jack video because I've always wanted to do that. But speaking of reviews, let's talk about Tales of the Jedi. If you can't tell, I really enjoyed this series. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I give it like a 9 out of 10. Well, like an 8 out of 10. For one, the episodes, okay, I'm gonna start off with my dislikes about the series. For one, the major one, the runtime. The runtime was short. Some of these episodes were like under 15 minutes. They were really under 15 minutes. I didn't really enjoy that, especially the first episode. It kind of felt like filler to me. I'm a big fan of Ahsoka because I have an Ahsoka tattoo on my wrist right here. She's one of my favorite Jedi, one of my favorite characters because I grew up watching her. But I really disliked that episode because it just kind of felt like filler. It was unnecessarily long. You could have made it like 10 minutes instead of like 20 to 15 minutes. I much would have preferred to see how Plo Koon ended up finding her when she was a youngling and then brought her to the Jedi Temple. I rather would have seen that, but that might be explored in the Ahsoka series. That's one of my main distakes for this series, that the runtime is pretty short. Other than that, I think that's my actually only complaint about this series. Oh, my second complaint, we did not get to see more Ahsoka. Like, it was advertised that we would see Ahsoka, Count Dooku, Qui-Gon Jinn, but we didn't really see too much of Ahsoka, and some of these parts that she was involved in, except for episode 5, were kind of lackluster. Like, episode 6, yes, felt, I don't know, I wasn't really a big fan of it, how they introduced the Inquisitor and then just no big battle, just like kill him off in like 2 seconds. I wasn't really a big fan of that, and some people are mad online that they decanonized the Ahsoka novel, but that was always going to happen because it's better to do stuff like animated where you can actually see it than reading it. But yeah, that's probably my main two like distaste about this series. It's mainly the runtime and how some of the characters were like not used, which was mostly Ahsoka, but that's just my opinion. I think we can all agree that the runtime wasn't the best thing. They should have made it at least 20 to 30 minutes long each episode. I feel like that would have explored like more and we would have seen a bit more of the characters, because I would have loved to see more Count Dooku and his story and Qui-Gon. Now I really want like a Count Dooku spin-off solely focusing on him and the Separatists from like a good viewpoint rather than them being seen as bad guys. Speaking of Count Dooku, I think that was one of the highlights of this series, of this season. Maybe I'll get a second season, I don't know. But of this series, Count Dooku was the main highlight. I really like seeing his evolution from the light side slowly fall down and corrupt to the dark side, how he ultimately met Sidious, and how he ultimately started off as a good, genuine man trying to help out the people of the galaxy, but slowly started to fade into the dark side. We also see why he was never at Qui-Gon's funeral. It's because he could not bring himself to do so. I really felt for him when Qui-Gon died, and like, if you watch episode 1 and then jump straight into episode 4 of this series, you'll feel more of an impact and more of an attachment with Qui-Gon and with Count Dooku. You start to feel for Count Dooku. This series made me think that the Separatists weren't really all that bad. They were just corrupted by Emperor Palpatine and some of the other business tycoons and the Confederacy. Ultimately, the Separatists, they are good. In the first episode and the second episode where Qui-Gon and Count Dooku are going through that one planet in the outer rim to rescue Senator Sun. They see the poverty Count Dooku feels for the people. Each episode we start to see him question the Republic and the Jedi Council for why aren't they helping more people? Why are we being loyal to the Senate, to the Republic? It's not right. And I really love seeing like this atmosphere, this tone, him shifting, and we got to see a lot of questions finally answered, like what happened to Yaddle, because a lot of people were wondering for years what happened to Yaddle. And we got to see Count Dooku, Mace Windu, and some other characters. He was honestly the highlight of the series, and I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot. Now the Ahsoka part, episode 5, really good. You can tell, like at the beginning of this video I mentioned episode 1 and episode 6 were my least favorite because it underutilized Ahsoka and it just kind of felt like filler. But episode 5 directly ties into the final episodes of the Clone Wars season 7, and it's kind of hurts like seeing Ahsoka train so hard and she's not understanding why Anakin is making her go through this much effort. But from there it jumps into like the end of season 7 and how she's putting that training into use against the clones in Order 66. That was a bit sad and tragic that Anakin taught her to survive in the hell that he would ultimately bring. But I can't say any more about Tales of the Jedi because that's just my thoughts. I give it an 8 out of 10. The only downside is just the runtime. Everything else is good. The characters, 9 out of 10. Superb Count Dooku, 10 out of 10. Qui-Gon, 9 out of 10. Windu, he's a dick, but we all love him. And Yaddle, she was probably one of the highlights. She was an interesting character to see because she never really spoke too much in like the films. I believe she was only in like episode 1, maybe episode 2. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on Tales of the Jedi. Overall, a good series. I highly recommend if you're a good Star Wars fan, if you're a big fan of the Clone Wars, I highly recommend go check this series out. If you like the characters, want to see more character interactions, definitely go watch it. I love like the political themes inside it, the conflicts, the tones, everything about it, so good. I wouldn't be opposed to a second season of this series, like if they solely focus on young Obi-Wan. I think that would be super cool. Or we focus on Cal Kestis and the story in like the Empire days or early Jedi days. I think that would be pretty cool. This series has so much potential, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, that's just my short review about Tales of the Jedi. I might cosplay Dooku now because he has a cool beard, and yeah, let me know what you guys think of the series, if you agree with any of my points. And yeah, I'll see you guys on my next video. So yeah, peace out. Check out my other channel. I actually do anime content on my second channel, a bit of vlogging as well, but I mainly do like anime discussions. So if you're into anime, romance anime, Shonen Jump, or like any of that stuff, manga, definitely go check that out. And yeah, I'll catch you guys for sure on my next video. Should be pretty soon. Peace out.